Adding integers. Well, first of all, what are integers? Basically, integers are just whole numbers and their opposites. So I know you've worked with whole numbers all your life, basically. Here's a whole number 5. That's called 5, sometimes positive 5. What's the opposite of positive 5? Well, it would just be negative 5. So there is a whole number and its opposite, 2 integers. If I had a negative 3 over here, and I'll write down a negative 3, what is the opposite of negative 3? Well, it would be positive 3. Now, there are 2 ways to write positive 3. You can either put just plain old 3, or you can put a plus. But quite honestly, that plus isn't necessary, so you don't always have to do it. Sometimes it's good because it can help you remember what your answer is, what the sign of your answer when you're working a problem. But, hey, let's take a little look at this too. Here's a number line. You've seen these. And sometimes when you first learn about a number line, it usually starts with a 0, and then to the right, you've got these numbers like 1, 2, 3. And those are your positive integers, right? Now, to the left of 0 are your negative integers. So that would be negative 1, negative 2, and negative 3. And the arrows, by the way, on each side there indicate that that line goes on forever. Now, basically, then, the negative integers are less than 0. Positive integers are greater than 0. So that's all we have right now. Positive, negative, whole numbers, and their opposites. So let's go ahead and learn how to add integers. As we go through these lessons, it's really important for you, when I work a problem, to copy that problem down and work it with me. Because if you do that, the concept, everything will just be more and more clear to you. Concepts just stick better. It's really important to work the problems with me. If you just sit and watch, you're not going to learn that much. And a lot of times too, when you just sit and watch, even like watching TV or something, you kind of just tune out, zone out. Can't even remember sometimes what you were looking at or watching on TV. But let's copy down a problem here. Let's put a 5 plus a negative 2. And nothing to it there, right? Now, what does this mean? Think about the positive numbers as money that you have, right? Put a little dot there. Now, copy this down. Have a little dot there. I've got $5. Now, the negative numbers, think about these as being money that you owe. So in this problem, I have $5, but I owe somebody $2. So if I pay them the $2, I'm still going to have money left over. So let's put a plus sign. Our answer is going to be positive. We're still going to have money left over. The question is, how much are we going to have left over? And you can probably do this mentally, but let's show it. We would have 5 minus 2, and that's equal to 3. So the answer would be positive 3. And again, if you want to just write that as plain old 3 without the plus sign, that's fine. But the idea again on that problem is we have $5. We owe somebody 2. We pay him the 2. How much do we have left over? 3. Okay, now let's do this problem. Copy this one. This time, let's have a negative 5 plus 2 with an equal sign there. Now, a little different this time. How much money do we have this time? Well, we've got 2. How much money do we owe? 5. Uh-oh, it's kind of a bad situation if this was in a real world. You've got $2, but you owe somebody 5. So you can pay them the 2, but you're still going to what? You're still going to owe money. So you want to put a negative sign there. How much money are you going to owe? Isn't it going to be a 5 minus 2? You're going to get 3 there, but this time you owe 3, so it's a negative 3. So make sure you just go through and complete that. So you can see the difference. Sometimes your answer is going to be positive, sometimes negative. Now let's take this example. This is even a little bit different. Let's take a negative 5, write that down, plus a negative 2 with an equal sign. Now, how much money do we have? Whoops, we don't have any money, do we? No positive numbers. But I owe $5. I owe $2. So this is sort of like getting bills in the mail. You get one bill for $5, you get one bill for $2. You're going to have to pay them both. So we're going to owe money. And aren't we going to owe the total of the 5 and the 2? So this time we would take the 5, we owe 5, we owe 2, and we would add them together, and that means we're going to owe how much? 7. So the answer there would be a negative 7. Got that? Just like getting 2 bills in the mail. So that's all you really have to remember. Just think of money you have, money you owe, determine what your sign is, and then go from there. Now, what about integers when you have a problem with maybe 3, 4, or more integers? How do you think you're going to work those? Well, let's do a couple of samples. You're going to find out that these are really easy too. So now, get ready. We'll do a couple more, and then I think you've learned all you need to know to go on and work addition of integer problems. Okay, now copy this problem with me. I want to do one and then do one that's a little bit more difficult with larger numbers. So let's go through this one, take our time, and then we'll do one more example, and I think you're ready to go. So let's write down a -5 plus 7 plus a -7 plus a 4. So here we go. We've got 4 integers this time, and it's basically the same thing. What I like to do is to collect all the positives and then collect all the negatives, and then you've got 2 numbers that you can work with, and we just did some of those. So let's get all the positives, and I like to put lines over the positives. There's a 7, that's positive. 4 is positive, right? Let's take the negatives and put a little circle around those, and that way we can spot the negative numbers, and it'll be easy to identify too. I have a -5 and I have a -7. So let's add up the positives. I've got 7, I've got 4, that's a total of 11, right? Now, plus negative what? Now dig, we owe 5 and we owe 7, so how much do we owe altogether? 5 plus 7, that would be a -12. See how easy these are, really? Now we've got it down to 2 numbers. I've got $11, but I owe somebody 12. I don't have enough to pay him, so I'm going to still owe. Get that negative sign up there, right? And how much am I going to owe? I'm going to owe 12 minus the 11, which is 1, so the answer, -1. So really, all you have to do is to collect your positives, collect your negatives, break it down into 2 numbers, and you're ready to go. Let's do one that's got a little bit larger numbers, because sometimes that can throw people, but it's really no big deal at all. Let's start with a positive 12, write it with me, plus a -15, and plus 13, plus a -20. So we've got 4 integers again. You could do this with 5, 6, 7, same thing. Let's again identify the positives, identify the negatives, and then we can just collect them. I have 12 and I have 13, so I put lines over each of those. Do that. And then I have a -15 and I have a -20. Now, if you have to, on problems where you have larger numbers, just go to the side of your paper and just do it there. So my 2 positives are 12 and 13. I could just go over to the side and just write these down. I'll just do it over here, just kind of demonstrate here. And I would get what? 25. If you can do it mentally, that's fine. If not, use paper. So I have a positive 25 here, right? Now, the negative total. Again, I owe 15 and I owe 20. So I'm going to go over to this side and I'll put I owe 15, right? And I owe 20. So to get the total that I owe, I would add those, right? Because I have to pay off both of those. In other words, I owe 15, I owe 20. So that would be what? -35. So now the next step is you always want to get the sign. I have 25, but I owe 35, right? I have 25, owe 35. I don't have enough to pay, so I'm going to still owe money, right? So I'll put the sign up there. And then the last step would be to show your subtraction, which is 35 minus 25. And in this particular case, subtract, I put a minus sign there. Okay, 5 minus 5 is 0, and 3 minus 2 is 1. So our answer is 10. But since we owe 10, it's a -10, and there you go. So basically, integers, what are they? They're whole numbers and they're opposites. What's a good thing to think about when you add them? Think of money you have, money you owe. And before you get your answer, remember it's always a good idea to find out what the sign is first, put it up there, and then go from there. So that's great. Good lesson on adding integers. Now it's time to practice, and I will see you next time.